Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We're doing our interesting budget commanders, the EDHrec top budget Cantrip Commanders this time. This is unfortunately very similar, I think, to my last video where I did the combo ones. I think I should have thought that through a bit more before doing them in 2 weeks in a row, but you know what? Here we are. So, alright. Please hit like and subscribe. It makes such a big difference. Again, we are still getting going here. It seems like it's getting harder every week, frankly. So, yeah, hopefully I can get everything, the numbers back up and all that. Alright, in the 99, so we have entered the Enigma for 1 blue. It's a sorcery. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Draw a card. Okay, this is really everything you need for a cantrip. It's 1 mana only. It's very cheap. It draws you a card. It replaces itself. And yeah, the effect is kind of just like bonus. In the cantrip decks, you need these things. Cheap replaces itself. And that's really what you want over and over and over. So yeah, 20 sets for that one. Next up is Bringing Storm, an instant. Draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. A classic, a very good old one. So yeah, that is 134. And we have Third Path Iconoclast is a blue and a red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Again, it's all about just getting that extra value, right? The extra value is what you want. Editorial note. Okay, number 3 is supposed to be Niv Mizzet here. Niv Mizzet Paran, maybe? But anyway. I didn't put him on the list because I've had him on 2 lists recently. He was definitely on the combo list last week. And I had him in a budget deck recently. What else? But yeah, I've had him a lot on the channel, so I think he was on another recent list as well. So yeah. Leaving him out just because like the combo him and the cantrip him, cantrip is how it combos really, so yeah. That kind of is almost redundant, so took him out. Number 5. You might be confused by the art if you're not sure, but I'm going to explain it right away here. So is that Blanca, you might be wondering? Yes, it is. The Howling Abomination. Okay, so this is in 1,358 decks, so pretty good number of decks. Yeah, so this is Blanca from Street Fighter. Street Fighter from Blanca basically got reskinned as... This is reskinned as Street Fighter from Blanca, is what I should say. So he turns cantrips into damage and bonus stats for himself. So let's take a look here. We've got 3 red, green, Gruul. It's always a nice color combination, Gruul. For this 5/5 with haste. 5 for a 5/5 with haste. Not too shabby. But here's where it gets really good. So yeah, it has trample as long as you've cast 3 or more spells this turn. That's also nice. With cantrips, you're going to get that trample easily, right? Whenever the Howling Abomination becomes the target of a spell. Any spell, right? It doesn't say instant, it doesn't say sorcery, it doesn't say aura. It doesn't say target of a spell, okay? Anyway, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn and deals 2 damage to each opponent. So every spell you cast on him is like casting shock on every opponent. It gets really out of control because, yeah, if you use 3, you basically cast like 2 lightning bolts on each opponent, which is like 6 mana worth. So if you cast like 3 things that are 1 mana each on him, he's going to just like do this really huge pile of damage. Usually this is kind of like a burn commander, you might think, or even a Voltron because of the +2/+2. It is kind of like where the 2 meet. Again, you're going to be lowering their hit points with the just casting spells on him, and then he's going to get all these bonuses and be able to like knock them out easily. So usually with Voltron and Commander, you're trying to do the commander damage. He kind of doesn't care. He's probably going to like end up being able to just regularly knock things out, even without commander damage. He's going to be knocking out your opponents just by taking their hit points. Whew! Anyway, 50 cents. Very Blanca. Okay, so what do we put in the 99? We got Expedite. For 1 red, this instant, target creature gains haste until end of turn. Sure, draw a card. You really kind of don't care about the haste. It's 1 mana, draw a card. Remember, cast this on your commander. This +2/+2, 2 damage to each opponent, and draw a card. The haste is there. Sure, haste. Okay, whatever. 25 cents only. 25 cents to do all of that. 1 mana, 25 cents. That's like an insane amount. 6 damage and like haste and whatever else. Yeah, +2/+2. That's like the best cantrip ever. But anyway, Fist of Flame. So this is a little more expensive. You probably don't want to often have things that are above 1 mana for cantrips, but still, this is so good. 1 and a red. Draw a card. Until end of turn, target creature gains trample and +1 for each card you've drawn this turn. Again, so you're going to need some card draw to make this really worthwhile, but then it's going to be worthwhile. Big time. Especially if you got some kind of wheel effect where you can like discard your hand, draw a whole new hand, and then draw this extra card, and you're probably giving him trample and like who knows how big a bonus, like +6 maybe, and like the +2/+2 for casting it on him. So he's up to +8 already, and he's a 5/5, so that's 13. Trample, just oof. Anyway, 19 cents only. Finally, Keen Sense, 1 green. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Deals damage, not combat damage, just damage, right? So every time you cast a cantrip on him, he's getting +2/+2, dealing 2 damage. Because of the 2 damage, you're going to draw 3 cards. Oh my gosh, that's insane. 195 for that one. Number 4, Octavia Living Thesis. So 8 blue for an 8/8. Anyway, she's in 1,434 decks. So if you're a big fan of the number 8, this is your commander. I got great news for you. Hey, my son is here. If you hear random shouting, it's my son, okay? It's not something shady, but anyway. Here we go. So the spell costs 8 less to cast if you have 8 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard. So that's where this is a cantrip commander, right? That huge cost reduction. Frankly, the only thing that makes this really worthwhile is that cost reduction. So yeah. Well, actually, that's the first part. There is one more, Magecraft. Magecraft cantrip. Oh yeah. Anyway, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a target creature has base power and toughness 8/8 until end of turn. So as long as you can make any creature, right? If you've got like some kind of thing where you're just able to like keep pumping out token creatures, who cares what they are? Flying token creatures even better, right? But even like 1/1 flyers become 8/8 flyers. Like that's going to be just absolutely horrifying. And it's pretty easy to find something where they can each trigger off of cantrips as well. So yeah, you're going to end up with just this massive army by doing the same thing. There's kind of like, I like when you can just like do one thing and you end up with like all the benefits. Anyway, Synergy. Hey, yeah, that's what it's called. 30 cents. Okay, so Archmage of Ruins. Runes, not ruins. Runes. 3 blue for a 3/6. Instant sorcery spells cost you 1 less to cast. I actually pulled this recently. I was pumped. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. That's very huge in decks like this because this is the main thing you want to do with cantrips. Cast a spell, draw a card. Cast a spell, draw a card. Cast a spell, draw a card. An instant or sorcery, draw a card. And yeah, that'll just keep you going. 78 cents only. I saw this and put it in my binder because I thought it was like going to be $5, and no. Looter Il Core. 1 and a blue. It has Shadow. I actually did a video on Shadow. If you want to check it out, it might be the best form of evasion. Only other things with Shadow can block it, and it can't block anything without Shadow. So it's kind of like if flyers could only block things that were flying. Which is handy if they have flyers, and if they don't, it's useless, right? So a lot of people don't use Shadow. First of all, because it's old. Secondly, because, yeah, if you have a whole bunch of Shadow and someone else doesn't, it's useless. So that's why Shadow is amazing. Anyway, yeah. Whenever it deals damage to an opponent, right. Draw a card, then discard a card. This is so good with Octavia because you want to keep putting things into your graveyard. Your objective is to get like 8 instants and sorceries into your graveyard. Casting them works, or just throw them straight in, right? He allows you to just put them straight in, no problem. Next up, Frantic Search. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands for 2 and a blue. Again, this is gonna like basically untap lands equal to its casting cost, so it kind of doesn't hurt you at all. You get to draw 2 cards and put 2 cards in the graveyard. Putting things into your graveyard and controlling what's in your graveyard is number 1. That's gonna like get you, again, you want to get 8 is the main thing to cut your casting costs down, and yeah, Frantic Search can do 25% by itself. Actually really amazing. Anyway, 31 cents. Number 3. I gotta have some coffee here. Alright. Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief. Green and a blue for a 2/1 flyer. Dex 1505. This is one I have this card and I looked at it and I was like, no thanks. I'm really bad. I read the card and I think like, and when I actually interpret it when I'm reading, I like add things like limitations, and then I go like, oh well, this isn't good because the limitation I added myself. Anyway, okay, so yeah, whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. Again, may is so important there. That's one thing I missed, is may. Also, spell. It doesn't say instant, it doesn't say sorcery, it doesn't say aura, just spell. So any aura cast on any creature, you can copy and put on her. Any instant, any sorcery. So yeah, and it is anything on the whole board. So if you're playing against like some kind of like aura, Voltron type of thing, like Euro, she's just gonna be like a monster. She's gonna like get everything Euro has and be a flyer. And whatever other bonuses you manage to like get from instant sorceries and things like that. Like, oh my. Anyway, 62 cents only. Entity Tracker. Again, I think what you really do with this is like you go in heavy Aura Cantrip. Aura Cantrip is not a normal combination. People are not going to see that coming. They're not going to expect it. So it's going to really go off easily. But remember the 2 things you need. Low casting cost auras. Low casting cost, no problem. Card draw. They need to replace themselves. That's the trickier part. That's what Entity Tracker does. 2 and a blue for a 2/3. Actually got this as well. He has Flash, which is always nice. Whenever enchantment you control enters, whenever you unlock a room, draw a card. So yeah, if you cast an aura, you're going to draw a card right away, and you can make a copy of the aura and put it on there. I think, would the copy also trigger him? I think so. Would you be drawing 2 every time? Also, if you're, I think, again, it's a token enchantment, but yeah, it's still an enchantment. So yeah, even if your opponents cast like auras on their creatures, you can make copies of them, and then you can like draw cards from your opponents casting auras on their own creatures. Oh my, that's hilarious. 119. Snake Umbra. Not long ago, this was way more expensive. Okay, 2 and a green. 2 is getting high, but Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Again, deals damage, it does not say combat damage, right? So there's a lot of ways you can abuse that as well. She doesn't have that built in, but you can add something for sure. And if someone casts an enchantment that you copy that allows her to do that, hey, even better. Anyway, 43 cents only. Oh, sorry, it also has totem armor. So if someone does something that's going to remove her send her to the graveyard, you're just like, no, I'll send the enchantment instead. And she can stay. Really important when you're stacking those bonuses up. Yeah, as I said, 43 cents. Storm Chaser Drake. 1 in a blue for this 2/1 flyer. This is like a combo, very much combo with her. Whenever Storm Chaser Drake becomes target of a spell you control, draw a card. So you're going to cast a spell on him, which lets you draw a card, and then you can copy it and put it on her. And if it's an enchantment and entity tracker's out, you're going to draw 2 extra cards. So you're going to draw 3 cards off of casting, like, you can cast a 1 mana enchantment and, like, draw 3 cards on top of whatever it does and get 2 copies of that. The value. Anyway, $1 for that only. Number 2. Oh boy. Lord of the Nazgul. I lost against this recently. It is a good one. 3 blue-black. Dimir. I was just thinking in my head Dimir and then I said white. Because my brain sucks. Anyway. 1,853 decks, so this is pretty popular. This is kind of a weird one. It's like Cantrip, Wraith Kindred combination. Which is not something you'd probably think of, but here we are. I just made this like Wizard Kindred deck, and I feel like this is like a stronger Wizard Kindred than the actual Wizard Kindred Commander. I feel like maybe it should be a wizard, but anyway, okay. So yeah. Wraiths you control have protection. Oh, sorry. It is, yeah. 3 blue-black for a 4/3 flyer. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. Probably not going to come up, but you never know. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black wraith creature token with menace. Very nice. Then if you control 9 or more wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. So yeah. Cast him. Get hopefully some non-token wraiths, but it doesn't really matter. And then as soon as you have 9 or more wraiths, remember he is a wraith, so you make 8 more. Wait. Yeah. You make 8 more. You cast 8 cantrips is not hard to do, even in like 2 to 3 turns. Easy, right? Yeah. And then you've got all of these token 9/9s that you can enhance in all kinds of other ways. So it's kind of like, yeah, this is like a token Wraith Kindred cantrips theme loss. It sounds like it's messy, but it's so strong. I just got like wiped by this commander. Anyway, 199. Okay, so on to the 99 inclusions. Birthday Escape. Keeping with the Lord of the Rings cards, I gotta order one of these. This is actually pretty good. So 1 blue for this sorcery. Draw a card, the ring tempts you. Sure. The ring temps thing, we don't really care about a lot, but draw a card. Draw a card, and it's a cantrip, right? These are the 2 things you need in every cantrip deck. Right here, there you go. Good to go on that one. Alright, so for 1 in a black, feed the swarm. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, you lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. Very low cost, easy to cast. Yeah. And you're just taking out a threat. The flexibility it has as well. Creature and enchantment. A lot of times you get like enchantment or artifact. Creature and enchantment. is much more uncommon. So it's nice to have that kind of like unusual flexibility to it. You know, with 64 cents. Finally, Ring Race for black for this 5/5. Again, this is good because it is a Wraith already, right? Also, yeah, when it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. So, especially in Commander, that's crazy because you give that commander -3/-3. Maybe you take it out. Ideally, you target someone's commander that has 3 toughness or less, or you do some kind of other damage to it. And then, yeah, you take it out, and because their commander got taken out, they lose 3 life as well. Real kick in the teeth there. So when the ring tempts you, return Ring Race from your graveyard to your hand. Again, so this is where the ring tempts you can be used very nicely to like start getting things as like pseudo recursion. Anyway, 99 cents only. It just does so much. Number 1, hey, Miss Bumbleflower. She was actually on our combo list last week as well. Anyway, so she's in 2,421. Again, these decks are much more common. Cantrip decks are much more common than the combo decks. I think she is in less than 500 combo decks, and she's got over 2,000 cantrip decks. Cantrip and combo are very similar. A lot of times the same, but anyway. Anyway, she allows everyone to be drawing cards all the time, so she's very much like a group hug, but a group hug where you can kind of get mean with it pretty easily. Okay, 1 green, white, blue. So Bant, I'm not a fan of Bant myself, but anyway. For a 1/5 Vigilance. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. So that sounds nice. That is awesome in Commander because like just being able to control the like kind of pace of the game. It lets you really decide, like if someone's a bit behind, you can start helping them out. That kind of politicking goes a long way. Also, it stops one of the other players from getting ahead, and you can kind of like keep your head down and then just steamroll them all of a sudden. So yeah, very good for that. Kind of a bit of a meta thing, but anyway. Put a +1/+1 on counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time that ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. So yeah, you're going to get to draw 2 cards extra. Start throwing +1/+1 counters on things and giving them flying. Ideally, I would combine this with like Proliferate and things like that. So like Cantrip Proliferate deck, very, very strong. Anyway, 106. Inspiring Paladin for 2 and a white is a 3/3. During your turn, this creature has first strike. Sure, why not? During your turn, if you control creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have first strike. So they're going to gain flying for the turn and first strike for as long as he's out. As soon as they have that +1/+1 counter. Building around +1/+1 counters is easy and very, very powerful. Anyway, 15 cents. Chasm Skulker. Oh. 2 and a blue. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. So this is like probably going to be 3+3/+3 per turn. Which is already very good, but we're going to keep going. When it dies, create X/1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So when they do finally take it out, it automatically is just going to make all of these squid tokens that have Island Walk. So if anyone has any island, again, Island Walk is based on like the keyword island. So if they have a triome that says island or a dual land that's island and something else, that counts. It doesn't have to be like a basic land island, okay? So yeah, you can turn that into a whole lot of damage very quickly. This could turn into a win con pretty quick. Anyway, 85 cents. Jorel Monwu Recluse. Monvuli Recluse I can't say a lot of things on these cards. But anyway, 1 and a green for this 1/2. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you will create a 2/2 creature token. Just creating tokens is very, very good, right? 2/2 tokens may not sound like a lot, but you can throw these +1/+1 counters on them, make them flying, give them vigilance, all these other things, and they're going to just start doing work, right? Yeah, they get pretty scary pretty quick. And for 4 green, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. You're going to end up with a sizable hand, right? You can probably fairly easily be drawing 3 cards per turn. And with cantrips, you can keep replacing the cards and maybe drawing extra. So all of those cards are going to be their base stats for all of your creatures. Win con, right? Win con. Anyway, 25 cents. The list. Okay. The Howling Abomination, 50 cents. I really like that one. Octavia Living Thesis, 30 cents. Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, definitely my top pick. 62 cents only. Lord of the Nazgul is 189. And Miss Bumbleflower is 106. Alright, take it easy.